Frantic, hushed tone. March 25, 1971. You're a student at Dhaka University. The power is cut, the halls are dark, and outside your door, the Pakistani military is sweeping the dormitory with automatic weapons. This was Operation Searchlight. The military was actively hunting and executing Bengali students, professors, and civilians, a calculated attempt to decapitate the region's cultural and intellectual leadership. To understand why the state turned on its own people, look at the geography of 1947. During partition, the British created a single nation in two halves, West and East Pakistan, separated by 1,600 kilometers of Indian territory. This chart highlights the economic disparity that fueled the rebellion. While the East provided 62% of national revenue, the central government in the West diverted the vast majority of development funding to its own side of the border. The exploitation was cultural as well. In 1948, the central government attempted to mandate Urdu as the sole official language, dismissing the native Bengali tongue spoken by the majority of the population in the East. This resentment found a political voice in Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. His Awami League won 167 seats in the 1970 general election, but the military leadership in the West refused to recognize the democratic result. The ensuing military campaign was a targeted effort to crush Bengali identity. For the people of the East, the struggle had become a fight for physical and cultural survival against an occupying force. As the military campaign intensified, the human cost became a regional crisis. 10 million Bengali refugees fled across the border into India to escape the violence. The journey was a test of endurance. Many families walked for weeks through extreme heat and rain, leaving thousands dead from exhaustion and disease along the evacuation routes. In New Delhi, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi faced a mounting strategic crisis. The economic burden of 10 million refugees was becoming unsustainable, forcing India to consider a military solution. Gandhi's military advisors urged restraint. General Sam Manekshaw insisted on waiting until the winter months, knowing that a summer offensive gripping Indian armor in the flooded delta of East Pakistan. During the wait, India conducted a covert campaign. The military provided arms and training to the Mukti Bahini, the local Bengali resistance, preparing them to harass and weaken Pakistani forces from within. The wait ended on December 3, 1971. Pakistan launched Operation Chengiz Khan, an air campaign targeting 11 Indian air bases in a single evening. Pakistan's strike provided the strategic justification India required. The localized rebellion became a formal two-front international war. On the night of December 4th, the Indian Navy launched Operation Trident. Missile boats like the INS Niphat approached Karachi port under total radio silence, firing their missiles into the darkness. The results were catastrophic for the Pakistani Navy. The strikes sank several warships and set the critical oil storage tanks at Kiamari on fire, a blaze that lasted for a full week. To the east, India used naval deception to neutralize Pakistan's elite submarine, the PNS Ghazi. By transmitting false signals, they lured the submarine into a trap, where it was destroyed before it could reach the Indian fleet. While the Navy secured the coasts, a very different battle was unfolding in the desert sands of Longwalala, Rajasthan. Major Chandpuri held the post with only 120 Indian soldiers. They were facing an advancing Pakistani brigade of 2,000 men and nearly 60 tanks. The Indian defenders used the sand and darkness to their advantage, stalling the heavy Pakistani tanks until sunrise. When dawn broke, the Indian Air Force arrived to obliterate the stationary armor from above. Across every domain, India's coordinated use of combined arms effectively neutralized Pakistan's ability to sustain an offensive within the first week of combat. The conflict nearly triggered a global escalation. To save its ally, the United States dispatched the nuclear-armed 7th Fleet into the Bay of Bengal as a direct threat to India. Simultaneously, Britain moved a warship into the Arabian Sea. The Indian Navy was now caught in a superpower pincer movement. Indira Gandhi responded by activating the Peace and Friendship Treaty with the Soviet Union, calling on Moscow to honor its defensive commitment. The Soviet Pacific Fleet arrived days later. Their nuclear submarines surfaced between the Western fleets and the Indian coast, forcing the US and UK to call off their intervention. With foreign help blocked, Pakistani leader Zulfikar Ali Bhutto failed to secure a ceasefire at the United Nations. On the ground, the military situation had become untenable. On December 16, 1971, General Niazi signed the Instrument of Surrender in Dhaka. Over 93,000 Pakistani troops were taken as prisoners of war, the largest surrender since the end of World War II. The surrender at Dhaka effectively partitioned Pakistan and ended the 9-month genocide. Supported by Indian military force and Soviet diplomatic pressure, the pro-independence movement achieved its goal, the establishment of the sovereign state of Bangladesh.